Here we are underway. The Leafs versus the Avalanche. The Leafs had a pretty good win about a week ago in Colorado. Hopefully they could beat the Avalanche again today. The Leafs need the points. They're about 5 points out of a playoff spot right now. Joseph Walls in net for the Leafs. He hasn't had the last week or so hasn't been that great for him. I think about 3 losses in over a week. Leafs had pretty good pressure on. Riley had a shot on net. Leafs have come out pretty good. They're known for their slow starts, but they seem to have a bit of energy today. We're getting buried under snow here in Toronto today. It's like an avalanche here today. Gonna get about set up to 30 centimeters of snow, which is like a foot of snow. The Leafs have having a great start here right now, keeping the pressure on. Stetcher going back for the puck. Uh-oh. Oh, man, that was a close call. Colorado off the rush there, almost had a close call and just, Makar ripped it. I think it hit Wall, but it hit the post too. Wall managed to smother it. Oh, good afternoon. Good to see you back. I thought I would get back at this today already. I'd try again. I'm trying something different today, too. I'm on regular YouTube, and also I'm streaming on the YouTube Shorts, too. I'm not exactly how sure that works. I never watched a stream on YouTube Shorts. But like I'm dual streaming today. Regular YouTube and on the Shorts feed too. So I wanted to see how that works. If how many people, if I get, maybe some people, see if it affects how many people I get in the chat. Leafs have come out strong there. They seem to be doing pretty good. Well, they need the points. 5 points out of a playoff spot right now. 5 points behind the wild card. The Bruins. And then I noticed Montreal dropped down a bit. Buffalo moved ahead of Montreal now. Oh, nice, right in front. Matthews. Oh, back to Domi. Leafs have the pressure on here. McCabe. Ekman Larson. Nice battling along the boards there. Leafs still have it, kept it in. It comes out now. Ekman Larson up to Lawton. Here comes Tavares. Over the blue line, rips it. High short side, almost went out, but Stetcher kept it in. Rebound almost went. Well, if the Leafs could keep this up for a whole game, they'll be doing pretty good. I think they should have a good chance to win this. Stetcher back for it. Benoit shoots it in. Colorado gets it back out, back down into Leafs zone. Carlo over to Riley. Robertson racing it. Charlie almost got it there. Now Colorado brings it back out. At least get it back out to center. Colorado was it in their own end. Tripping in. Cable was a pretty good hit there. Long shot, and Walsh smothers it. So far, the Leafs seem like they're not going to go down without a fight. You know, like they got so close. Well, they were actually in the wild card spot there for a short period. But now they drop back down again. But they're not going to go up without a fight. We've gone to a commercial now. Might be rough for a lot of these fans trying to get home after the game after this. It's really snowing out there. Hi, how's it going? I'm trying again today because well, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm trying it today because I came up with another idea that I wanted to try. I was going to wait till next week, but I wanted to try it. I'm streaming on both the regular YouTube and YouTube Shorts at the same time, like it's called dual streaming. And I thought I would try it to see how that affects things. how it affects the views or whatever. I don't know how it actually. I've never seen a live stream on YouTube Shorts, but apparently I have one stream going to YouTube Shorts now. I think you can't watch it right on the Shorts. Like you click on something and then it takes you to another feed or something. The Leafs have got off to a good start. I still think they're gonna make the playoffs. They're not gonna. Yeah. It depends for what, you know. But mostly I watch regular YouTube. But but I'll watch YouTube Shorts too. Like I like scrolling through the Shorts feed. I like when I'm scrolling through the Shorts feed and my videos show up. Because I scroll through a lot of hockey stuff, a lot of hockey content. Oh man, that's a bit of a soft goal for Wall there. Yeah, I don't know. Wall should have had that. Like it was a bad turnover, but still, I don't know. Yeah, I guess he was centered on the. I guess he couldn't have really. I don't know. It's pretty disappointing. Man, they started off so good. Well, that shot broke the camera. So you got a lot on that. Yeah, I don't know. Well, completely missed that. Yeah. Hopefully that fires him up and he gets it right back now. The Leafs are in the bottom five in the league, but in the bottom five of the league in goals allowed for turnovers. Gord Miller just said. But the Leafs have turned the puck over a lot for years. The Leafs have to keep playing like the way they were playing and not get discouraged. But you don't want to give a team like Colorado the lead. Oh man. Pretty disappointing. Colorado has the pressure on now. And the Leafs end. Still have it in there. Oh man, bad angle shot. The goaltending, they're not getting the goaltending lately either. Man. Yeah. What is it? Do you know what the date, what exact date was? For some reason, I had in my mind it happened in February. But February is the Olympics. Maybe that's why. For some reason, I had it in my head that big night has happened in February. Because I saw that game. Like, not there. I just watched it on TV. His 10-point night. It's one of the more memorable Leafs games. Yeah, I thought it happened in February. And then, because I remember when you told me the other day, and you said, "Oh yeah, they're honoring him," and I said, "Oh yeah, because it happened. Yeah, it happened now around February." And then I said, "Wait a minute, it's not February now; it's January." Well, I guess, but yeah, I kind of remember it was February. Yeah, that's why. NHL's at the Olympics. They got it. At least, hopefully, get one back before the end of the period. Yeah, but with me, it's like depends how they're playing. Like when they came out, like at the start of this game, and they were playing, and they seemed to have the pressure on. Yeah, it seems like it's a good chance they're going to win this game, and then they're back in it. But if they lose this one, and then they can't lose against Buffalo. Like if they keep losing, then I'm gonna say, yeah. Like now, like they could still win a bunch in a row because they won a bunch in a row before, and they got back in it. So there's no reason they can't do that again. But if they get into too much of a hole, like if they're like, 9 or 10 points back, especially if they're like 9 or 10 points back before the Olympic break, oh man, that would be. Because if they're far back before. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in Toronto. Are you in Toronto? We're getting a big storm here. Yeah, I'm right in the middle. I'm right in Toronto. We're getting a big storm. Are you in Toronto? But yeah, like they're gonna have to make some decisions if they're 8 or 9 points back. Half. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, so we're all getting the big storm now. I'm right in Toronto, like right around the middle. But they're gonna have to make some big decisions if they're like 8 or 9 points back, like like before the Olympic break, because when they come back, it's not far to the trade deadline. like like if uh, if they're 89 points back the Olympic break, when they come back, it's not that many games to the trade deadline. So they're gonna have to make a decision. Like if they're gonna maybe like who knows? I hate to say it, but maybe have to be in a position where they're gonna sell, maybe trade and get some draft picks. If it looks like because they're gonna have to make that big decision. Like if they're not going to make the playoffs and then they're not in the bottom five and Boston gets their pick, it's going to be a disaster. Because if they're in the bottom five, they get their pick back. Yeah, I was hoping that they put themselves in a hole here, you know. You know, they could still win. That's another one of those games where they have to grind back, try to get back into the game. Seems to happen to them a lot. You know, they came out that big start. Seems like, oh yeah, now finally they got the big start instead of the usual slow start and getting behind. So now they got the big start and got behind still. Oh man, they gotta win this. And if they don't win this, that game against Buffalo is bigger than that one against Detroit the other day. Oh, this is the next gen game? Everybody made it their way down there in the big storm. Who knows how it's going to be when they're going to leave? I guess people, if they took the subway, maybe it won't be too bad. But anybody that drove, it's probably going to take them a while to get home. Because the traffic's bad enough in the city as it is. Hopefully they get one back now on the power play. Shelley, oh man, ripped it just wide. The power play has been much better. At least now they, oh, nice. Riley just, I don't know. Riley just risks it at the goalie and he smothers it. I used to be a big Morgan Riley fan, but I'm kind of disappointed. The way he's been the last over a year now. Like even last year, I gave him I gave him some leeway or whatever. But this year, I'm getting tired of it because he said, "Oh, you know, over the summer, like he didn't want the team to move him, and he's gonna come back. He's gonna do what he needs to. He's gonna come." Oh, at least I have pretty good pressure on here. Uh oh, now Carl had a short. should have had a chance there off the rush. But Riley said he was going to come back. He's going to work things out over the summer or whatever, and he's going to come back and he's going to be a much better player. And I think he's even worse this year than last year. I don't know if he's washed up or what it is. But how could he? He's supposed to be the Leafs' #1 defenseman. But it's a good thing they have OEL. Because OEL actually is their #1 defenseman now. And he's like over the hill. I don't know why the Leafs never... Yeah, that is so strange since getting rid of Savard that the power play improved that much. Like it was like a disaster with him running the power play. Like if they would have got rid of him about a month sooner, the Leafs probably would be in a playoff spot right now. Oh man, Colorado has got the pressure on. The Leafs break it out though. Cabe shoots it in. Colorado. Now McKinnon's racing after it in the Leafs' end. Back to the point. Colorado cycling it again. Fortunately, they passed it back to their own goalie. Here comes Cowan with Michelli into the Colorado zone. Back of the net, out in front to... Almost got to Benoit. Because Benoit was shot from the point. Oh, man. Cowan back. Benoit with a big hit there. Brings it back. Colorado brings it back. Leafs end. Colorado battling along the backboards. The Leaf zone. Leafs break it out. Michelli. Domi's chasing it. Matthews dumps it in. Oh, Domi puts it to the net. Now he's got a stick on it, but didn't deflect it on net though. Ripped it right at wall, fortunately. Otto brought it back out and ripped it right at wall. Here we go to the commercial break. Go Leafs. Go Leafs, go. I don't know if I'm getting any better at this streaming, but I think I'm getting a bit more comfortable at it though. I tried doing the play-by-play a bit. I tried doing the play-by-play a bit now, and wasn't really doing that much before. Even though I'm not good at, but if I get more comfortable, then maybe I'll get good. Got it. Okay. Back at the Colorado's zone. McMahon almost hopped over his stick. Colorado gets it out. Tavares picked it up. Back into the Colorado zone. McCabe to Tavares. Leafs cycling it around a bit. Out in front. Lawton couldn't get a stick on there. Colorado brings it back into the Leaf zone. Here comes Riley with the puck. Gets it out of the Leaf zone. Oh, Leafs getting the penalty now. Yeah. It's a huge penalty kill coming up. Benoit. He didn't do anything. Benoit didn't do anything. Benoit didn't do anything there. Benoit fell, and the other guy fell over him. What was that penalty for? Benoit got a penalty for falling? He fell. It didn't look like he was even attempting to trip the guy. He fell, and the guy tripped over him. Oh, man. I don't know what that was. That had to be like the worst penalty call in history. He didn't do anything. He fell, and the guy tripped over him. How's that a penalty? Oh, man. But the Leafs penalty kill has been pretty good, though. So hopefully they could hold. Yeah, the Leafs got it down the ice. Oh, giveaway! Almost gave the puck away to Roy. That would have been a good if it got it in alone there and a short-handed goal. Would have got things going. Oh, Colorado battling away there. Wall managed to smother it. They were all scrambling in front of the net. The Wall managed to smother it. Oh, they were almost. Yeah, Lawton's in. Oh. And the penalty's over now. Lawton almost had another shorthanded goal. The penalty kill's been great lately. The power play's been pretty good. Oh, there we go. Wall with the big glove save. Snags that. Man, I wish it would have. Wish that glove was there on the first goal. Yeah, big save by Wall. That's the kind of on the first goal. I wish he snagged the puck like that. Shots are 17-6 for Colorado. And the Leafs came out so strong at the start of the game, but then, I don't know, that giveaway by Matthews turned the tide. "14 seconds left. Got Matthews out there. Take the face off. Let's see what he could do. See what the Leafs could do. 14 seconds left. He only loses the draw. It's back into the Leafs zone now. Riley goes back to get it, and there's only 3 seconds left. Period's over. Okay, now we're in intermission, and yeah, first intermission. I find the intermissions, at least when the play's going on, I could try doing the play-by-play a bit in the intermissions. Are a bit rough. I know it's like other channels and stuff, they do like quizzes and stuff. But I don't have enough people in the chat to do quizzes. It doesn't seem to me like that like showing that dual feed showing on regular YouTube and the shorts feed doesn't seem to really have increased anything. But I thought I would try it. They said that it was supposed to, like I saw some videos saying it could increase, it should increase your views. But it's up to YouTube. Like if YouTube's not showing it in the, it's true of everybody. Fortunately, I've built, a bit of an audience for my YouTube shorts, so YouTube shows it to that audience, but if you haven't built like an audience in a particular thing, it's rough. YouTube doesn't, YouTube goes with the safe, Yeah, Nylander would be a huge difference in a game like this, and the other day, like Nylander would have had a huge game, I think, against Vegas. I don't know for sure. Like, I have a feeling that Nylander and Marner didn't get along as much as people thought. I think I think Marner was more friends with Matthews, but I think like when there was that thing on the bench there a couple of years ago in the playoffs where Nylander was freaking out at Marner during the playoffs. And Marner always had to get the big contract, and Nylander on his first contract, he took a pretty big discount, I think, compared to what Marner, Matthews, and Tavares were getting. Like the contract he has now, they gave him, it's 11 million or whatever. But like that whole core four thing, it was like Tavares, Marner, and Matthews were getting 11, and Nylander was only getting like $6 million. Like he's the only one that kind of took a discount for that core four thing. So I think he always has something to prove. Hopefully, whatever's going on with Nylander, I have a feeling that it's going to be a chronic thing this year too. Oh, that wasn't really on Matthews. That was like now when I just saw it, they were showing it now on the intermission. McCabe just threw that across the ice, and it got picked off. That wasn't really on Matthews. McCabe has been something going on with him too. Yeah, the Wall hasn't been. I didn't have much confidence in Stollers the other night, the way it started off. But then he started to improve as the game went on. And then Wall, same thing tonight. He didn't. He didn't seem sharp. He might improve. He might settle in. He seemed to be settling in by the end of the period, but they're down 2-0. And Hildeby's sent back down to the minors. Yeah, I think Stoller starting the last game was a huge mistake. I don't know what they were doing. Like he did, and they said the Stollers didn't want to go. Like, I don't know if it's like officially, like anybody said it officially, or just a rumor or whatever. But the Stollers didn't want to go and recondition in the minors. So the guy didn't play in about 2 months. And didn't want to go to the Marlies to recondition. So the Leafs were like, okay, we'll just throw you in net then. Let you warm up against this huge game with the return of Marner. I don't know what they were doing. And Wall hasn't been sharp lately. I don't know what's going on with him. If he's injured again, like he's battling something. And because Hildeby's like the youngest, so they send him down to the Marlies. But he might have been the sharpest of the Leafs goalies lately. And they need the wins. I hope they could finally figure out a way to trade him. But he refuses. He refuses to go, so I don't know if there's much they could do. I remember Brian Burke, because Brian Burke wanted to trade Thomas Kaberle. And I can't remember what happened with that, but I remember just recently hearing, like Brian Burke said that if Kaberle didn't want to go, they would just sit him in the press box and wouldn't play him until he gave in. I don't think they'll do that to Morgan Riley. I don't think many GMs would do that to anybody, like any star player. But Morgan Riley's if you trade Riley at this year's deadline, but it's kind of hard to do. Yeah, but he refuses to go. So what can you do? He has like a no move. I bet you the Leafs would have traded him 2 years ago, maybe. Would have traded him last year for sure. I'd use that cap space to get like a true. But it's hard to get a true number one defenseman. It's hard to trade for them unless they're over the hill. Like Ulrich Larson. He was a true number one. But now he's sort of over the hill. That's why teams, and I don't know why, like Dubas and Shanahan, refused to draft defensemen. They were getting, and they kept, we need more star forwards. Everybody they were getting was like star forwards. And they said somehow the analytics, if they could hold on to the puck, and be a possession team and hold on to the puck, they don't. And they said they just want to do it their way. Trust them; it's going to work. Well, it never worked. It never worked in the playoffs for sure. And the Leafs. They refused to draft defensemen. You have to draft and develop defensemen the same way they drafted and developed their forwards. But they refused. They could, but I somehow I doubt. Somehow I doubt they'll do that. Because it's not only between the management and a player, it's also to do with like how they treat the players. If other players want to come here, so they say, "Oh, we're brutal to this guy," the Leafs management. So that affects other players that want to come here. Like the whole thing is like they have to figure out. They have to find a way to like say, it's not working here, and the fans are like they have to like kind of try to talk them into it. And the fans are on them, and it's not working here, and I try to talk them into it. Because Riley has never been a great defensive player. He's more known for his offense. Yeah, yeah, that's true. And he was supposed to be but when it comes to points and all that, he is one of their top. Points. He's like behind. I think he might be like fourth behind. Like Horton, Salming, Caberlet, and then Riley. I think it's something like that. But with Riley, it's pretty unusual for a Leafs player to be with the team that long. He's one of I don't remember if George Armstrong still has the record for the most games played as a Leaf, but Morgan Riley is right up there too as one of the most games played as a Leaf because he's been here for so long. And he's been here way before anybody else on the team. Yeah. Oh, he's number 2. Yeah, so and then Caberlet would be right up there too. So maybe Caberlet's 3 or something. And Tim Horton, I figure, is up around there. I think. I'm not sure. And maybe Ian Turnbull's up. But yeah, so that's why it's hard. On the one hand, the guy stinks. On the other hand, with his points record, the amount of points and all that, he almost belongs on Legends Row with his points production over the years. So how could they treat him? They have to treat him with class. How could they not? He's all the fans are on him. We all think he stinks, but he's a great all-time Leaf. He's a good. Yeah. And Thomas Caberlet, he was. I wish the Leafs had a defenseman like Thomas Caberlet. Like he was just an offensive defenseman, but then he had the same thing. Like he didn't shoot the puck. He was a pass first defenseman too. But but as far as bringing the puck up the ice, like he could go right through, like on the power play or whatever. He could go right through center, get around everybody, and bring it into the Leaf zone there. Yeah, Caberlet was a good defenseman. Was good. Like also had some defensive issues and not shooting the puck issues. But it was good. I like to see the Leafs have a guy with a fantastic shot back there. Yeah, it's just second period is just starting now. I like to see the Leafs have like a guy like Shea Weber. Like, yeah, I know he's retired now, but I mean a guy like Shea Weber, like a shot like that, or Al McInnes, could just blast it, or Chara could just blast it. But I don't think they have guys that blast the puck. But that's one thing. Like the skill level is so much better now on today's players. But I think these sticks that they use are more for wrist shots and snapshots. I actually think these guys with the old wooden sticks and then the aluminum sticks, I think they had harder slap shots. Because you could really step into a slap shot with those sticks that didn't flex much, like those old wooden sticks. Matthews around 200 points behind Sidney for the most history. Yeah, I think so. As long as he stays with the Leafs. There's rumors now. Starts to be rumblings now where you hear people saying, "Oh, if the Leafs start to stink and not make the playoffs and all that, is Matthews going to want to be here?" He only has a couple of years left on his contract. So what happens if the Leafs do take a downturn and they're not good for the next couple of years, and then his contract comes up in 2 years? Who knows? Maybe he does want to go. That's why the Leafs have to try to turn around. But I think the Rogers and because Rogers owns the Leafs and they own Scotiabank Arena. They own Sportsnet. And they own the cable network that a lot of the people use. Like I'm on Bell. But they own the cable network a lot of people use. So if the Leafs miss the playoffs, it is huge to lose all that playoff revenue. I think Rogers is going to be so mad. Like they have the Blue Jays also to get all the playoff revenue and all that. But they can't just count on them. They need the Leafs and the Raptors, Toronto FC, and the Argos too. I'm sure they want to win, but I don't think the Argos. It's not like the Leafs. Like if the Leafs, they're gonna be so mad if the Leafs and they don't get that. If the ratings go, because the ratings would be huge if the Leafs went on a long playoff run. Like Rogers probably wants that so bad. But it's been 24 years since the Leafs last made the conference finals. Yeah. And who would have ever thought that when everything seemed so promising? Like that first year, like the 2017 playoffs against Washington, the, the Leafs, like they lost that, in the first round in Washington, but they played so good. And everything just seemed so positive for the future. Who would have ever thought, like, you know, 9 years later, the Leafs didn't even accomplish much. Man, what a team they had. That, like, it was all young players. Like, so many were like rookies. Like, it wasn't just Matthews, Nylander, and Marner were rookies. I think Hyman was a rookie, and Connor Brown, and Kasperi Kapanen. But they were all forwards. They refused. And I said, well, at least maybe they could go out and get a free agent. Go and get a free agent defenseman, a big time first line defenseman. And I wound up getting Tavares. And I wasn't happy about that because I said, oh man, they have all the forwards. They need a defenseman. So I have to admit I wasn't happy when they, like now he's a good player for the Leafs. But I have to admit I wasn't too happy because not only that, then Marner and Matthews, they had to get paid more than Tavares. So that's sort of one of the big things that threw off the salary structure too. So I wasn't happy at the time about that. I thought they were going to the Stanley Cup, or at least get to the finals. Like at least do what the Oilers have done, for sure. The Matthews era, and even though, like we think, well, yeah, Matthews seems to be back. I don't know if he actually is back. To that 69 goal Austin Matthews, like he's much better than he was for about a year. I don't know if he actually is back to what he was. Yeah. Yeah. It's like they had so many great forwards. Like young forwards, like prospects. And then I wasn't happy when they hired Kyle Dubas. Like I said, like even though they had him as GM of the, like the Toronto Marlies, to me, like he was still an OHL GM. To me, he was still the Sioux Greyhounds GM. I was thinking, what are they doing? they let go a guy like Lou Lamoriello, who won a bunch of Stanley Cups. At least have the pressure on pretty good. They let Lou Lamoriello go, and they hire an OHL general manager. What are they doing? I think it was all to do with Brendan Shanahan's ego. He wanted to be, yeah, that was a pretty good chance there. If they can make it 2-1, they're back in the game. I sometimes I wonder if it had to do with Shanahan's ego, where he hired, almost scored again. Oh, at least having, Colorado coming back. Oh, no. Well, I'll stop that. End-to-end action now. Oh, the car ripped that wide, fortunately. Wall smothers it. End-to-end action. But, yeah, like sometimes I wonder if it had to do with Shanahan's, like ego or something. Like he couldn't tell Lou Lamoriello what to do. So he brought in a guy like Kyle Dubas, who was essentially an OHL general manager. So that way Shanahan could tell Dubas what to do, and so Shanahan was like the GM. Yeah, it's good to have where you're like I have fun doing these chats, sort of, but I mean, at some point, for me to just sit and do this chat and nobody, other than you, like it's like we're doing a podcast, kind of like two people on a podcast with nobody else watching. Like the way it's now, like now with the chat, where you are in the chat, so it's like we're both doing a podcast now with nobody else watching, which I don't know how sustainable that is. Like at some point, I think, I might just say, oh yeah, this was fun, and just stick to editing YouTube videos. Like the people like my videos, the way I edit videos. I could just stick to that. Seems like people like them. I get lots of views. But it's YouTube. I don't sort of, it's like the algorithm does what the algorithm does. Like I don't, because I see some people make fantastic videos, and it has like 100 views, and I think, what's YouTube doing? Like if they would show that to some people, they would watch. Why aren't they showing that video to people? Like that, like what I see like on other channels, like people who are good YouTubers and but at least the Leafs are hanging in there. Well, at least they're hanging in there, keeping it 2-0. If the Leafs beat the Kings in '93, there's a huge chance they would, but I wouldn't say for sure they would. Because it was a real grind on the Leafs getting how far they got. They seemed a bit burnt out at times. Like it was a huge upset for Montreal to be in the finals too. But that was such a weird year. Like like Detroit was like supposed to be one of the teams that were going to be. It's like before they were the dynasty, and they were expected to be, they were one of the teams they thought to win the cup, and the Leafs upset them in the first round, and then the Penguins were probably the really favored to win the Stanley Cup, and it was a huge upset against the Islanders. Like the Islanders should never have beat the Penguins. And then the Islanders wound up playing Montreal. The Islanders weren't that good, and it was a huge upset over the Penguins. And the Islanders wound up playing Montreal. Montreal had a pretty easy time with them. So Montreal didn't have where the Leafs, they struggle against Detroit. They struggle against St. Louis. They struggle against Los Angeles. They were pretty banged up. I think Montreal had a bit easier path. So that's the thing that concerned me. Like, if everything being equal, I think the Leafs would have beat them. But I was getting concerned that the Leafs were banged up and Montreal had a bit easier path at that time. But it's a huge chance they would have dug deep and won the finals and won the Stanley Cup that year. But even that's a long time ago, 93. They hadn't won since 93. But it's what I always, you get like Habs fans making fun, at least haven't won since 97, since 67. But a Canadian team hasn't won since 93, which is a long time ago too. Yeah. That when they interview Kerry Fraser, like I've heard him being interviewed with recent years, and he says he feels bad about that to this day. He said it was a huge missed call, like one of his biggest missed calls in his career, and he feels real bad about it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But the Leafs always seem to, so often get caught on the wrong end of the officiating. I don't know what it is. It's weird. This streaming on both the regular YouTube and on YouTube Shorts hasn't made any difference. I guess it's not showing up in the shorts like the way they said that it could. And I changed the setup like of the screen, so that way, like to set it up so it's better with the YouTube Shorts too, because it just takes from the one from the center, just takes the video from the center. But I think it's actually better now the way I have the long form screen because you can see the score better now, I think, and the time and the period. The Leafs are hanging in there. The second period. They need to try to make it 2-1. If they make it 2-1 before the end of the period, there's a huge chance they'll come back. Yeah, because they're a good team. Like even like in the game, whether it looks like they're gonna go like looks like they could catch up, and then in the standings, when they're capable of going on a bit of a run and catching up. Like I don't know what they were doing the first 2 months of the season. Like that's what put them in a hole. Like if it wasn't for those first 2 months, they'd be well into a playoff spot. And so then they put it where they have to win every game now. Oh, go Leafs! Well, I got somebody else joining the chat now. Yeah. Go Leafs, go! Hopefully, if they just get one goal. I'd like to see them get one goal before the end of the period. Make it 2-1, and they're back in this thing. I still have confidence they could win this game. Wall was rusty at the start, but I think he's sharpened up a bit. They could just chip away here and at least try to get the point. Get this to overtime. Leafs are. Colorado has it. Leafs on end. Blasted wide. Colorado has the pressure on. McMahon kicks it. Didn't get the denies. Colorado brings it back in. They ripped it right on and Wall with the save and at least get it back down the Colorado end. Colorado just brings it back out again. It's back into the Leaf zone now. Leafs have the pressure on. Oh no, Colorado's breaking out 2-on-1. Oh, Wall just got a piece of it. Huge save on McKinnon right there. The first Leafs game he went to, they beat the Florida Panthers 3-2. It was in Matthews' rookie season. That's would be, they're winning as what a save, huge save by Wall there, off of McKinnon. Like it almost got by him, like he got a piece of it and kind of batted it down and smothered it. But at least he got enough on it to keep it out of the net. He batted it down and then jumped on it. Yeah, Wall seems to have picked it up a bit. Man, I wish he started like that at the start of the game. If he was like at the start of the game, the Leafs wouldn't be in this hole. But he seems to be settling in. Yeah, it's still a game. They just need the Leafs get one goal by the end of the period. Oh, he tried to go between the arm and the body there. And, that was a good save. That was a good save. Tighten up, didn't let that go. Made sure he had the arm tight to the body there. And then gather up the rebound. Yeah, hopefully they do get one before the period's over. They had some chances. Oh. Oh no. I think McCarr was in alone. At least take a penalty. Carlo. Man, what a gash on the top of Berube's head there. I don't know what he did. Yeah, Carlo. Yeah, I guess. I guess you got that the stick in on the gloves there. Holding. You call it holding. The penalty killing's been pretty good though for the Leafs. But Colorado's got. Oh well. Uh, well, block that, and the Leafs get it down the ice. Here they come back again. Into the Leafs zone. Battling along the boards. Yep. McKinnon cycling the Leafs down in the corner there. The Leafs break it out. Matthews. Comes back to Benoit. Runs into the Colorado end with it. Battling there. Forechecking. Colorado brings it back into the Leafs end. Oh. Yeah, Wall seems like he's more. Like centered on the puck more now. The best free agent signing the Leafs have ever made? Oh, like free agent. I don't know. I think of lots of disasters. Oh, it's 3-0. Oh man, that's not good. I trying to think of who would be the best free agent signing. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like it's gonna be hard to come back against Colorado. If it was another team but Colorado, it's gonna be hard to come back off of this. I'm trying to think of who would be the best free agent signing. I don't know. I can't think of a lot of successful like the Leafs. Their drafting and their free agent signings have all been horrible. I'm sure there must be somebody, but I can't think of anybody. Like they did win a couple trades. They seem to always lose trades, but like the Doug Gilmore trade was one that they won big time. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Tavares. I think Tavares is probably. I can't think of another signing like that, really, that the Leafs did. I forgot about Tavares. But I can't think of too many signings like that the Leafs did where they went out and got a true star player as a free agent. So many disasters. Like one of the worst ones was Clarkson. David Clarkson. Oh man, that was maybe one of the worst. It was pretty bad. And he got suspended like right off the bat too, like right in the like they were playing the Sabres in the exhibition hockey, like in the preseason, and he came off the bench to join a fight, and that's how he started off his career with the Leafs. He had like a 10-game suspension for coming off the bench. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say, yeah, Tavares is probably the biggest free agent signing they've done. Because there wasn't really any during the Harold Ballard era. Phil Kessel was traded for. Probably Tavares. And things were kind of different, like the 60s and 70s, like the 60s. Like the way, like when Dave Keon wanted to leave the Leafs. Well, he didn't want to leave. Harold Ballard wanted to get rid of him. Dave Keon wanted to retire a Leaf. But Harold Ballard wanted to get rid of him. But even though Keon's contract was up, he wanted to sign with the Islanders. But the way the system was back then, the Leafs still owned his NHL rights somehow, even though he was a free agent. And he would have asked too much from the Islanders. That was some weird. I don't really get how it worked back then. So he wound up going to the WHA. And that was another thing that made him so mad at the Leafs when he left. But Harold Ballard said Dave Keon was washed up. Meantime, he left and he still played great elsewhere. Like Harold Ballard was trolling Dave Keon. Yeah, they traded. That was without retaining any of his salary. Yeah, it was pretty. That was pretty amazing that they managed to get rid of him. And they managed to get out of the Marlowe. That Marlowe didn't turn out very good either. He was paid so much. And they managed to get out of that too. It's one of the worst. remember, because way back, like at the around the same time, like people like in New York would complain about George Steinbrenner as the owner of the Yankees. He also was very similar to Harold Ballard, where he would like remember maybe the Leafs would have won the cup with Sittler, Donald Somley. There's a huge chance. Like I said before, I think Jim Gregory was maybe the best Leafs GM, and and he was building a great team, and Roger Neilson was a great coach, but Harold Ballard didn't like them because Harold Ballard wanted to do all these wild things. And they weren't into doing wild things. They were trying to building a solid team, and had to be patient. They lost to like Montreal in the playoffs. The reason why they lost is one of the reasons Harold Ballard let so many players go to the WHA. But Jim Gregory was doing a great job. Just hang in there and give him a chance. But Harold Ballard had his own. It was all about Harold Ballard, and he wrecked that team. If it was just a regular owner, and Jim Gregory stayed the GM, and Jim Gregory was still the GM throughout the 1980s, they would have won something. They would have won the Stanley Cup. Or they would have had a team that was close to doing it anyways. But Harold Ballard was all about, doing these wild things. And insulting the players, insulting the management. Like he demeaned them. The day before, oh yeah, that would be great to have a comeback. We were talking about Daryl Sittler's 10-point game. The day before, a couple days before Daryl Sittler's 10-point game, Harold Ballard said he wished he had a proper first-line center to play with McDonald and Errol Thompson. And that's when Daryl Sittler got mad, and Daryl Sittler went and had the 10-point game. But that's what he said about basically what he said about Daryl Sittler. He wishes he had a proper first-line center. He was a real jerk. And oh man, there's so many Harold Ballard. Do you ever watch any there's some of these stories when they wanted, I made a video about that when they first put players' names on the back of the jerseys. It's 1970 or something like that. They first started putting players' names on the back of the jerseys, and Harold Ballard refused. He said it would hurt program sales. So the NHL says you have to put them on there, else you're going to start getting fined. So he put the names on the back of the jerseys, but the names were the same color as the jersey, so you couldn't see them. And so they amended the rule. That lasted 2 games, and then they amended the rules. So they had to be contrasting colors. Yeah, and there's one story where like when the like he'd do things like when the Beatles were there, like this was like the early '60s or something, that he turned the air conditioning off. It was like in the summer, and he turned the water fountains off, and so people would be forced to go and buy the snack bar to buy drinks, like to buy Coke or whatever. There are all these weird. Then there's this one. Yeah, he hired him back 2 days later, and he said he wants Roger Nielsen to surprise the fans that he's back because the fans didn't know that he hired him again, and he said he wants to surprise the fans, so he wanted Roger Nielsen to go out and stand behind the bench with a bag on his head, and then Roger Nielsen takes the bag off, would take the bag off his head, and the fans would see it's him. And he refused, so he never did it. But that's what he did. And according to Jeff Merrick, he said because Bill Waters, he used to be like a player manager. Then he was like in media. I don't know if you remember Bill Waters. So Bill Waters told Jeff Merrick that during, I forget it was like the '89 draft or something. It was like in Minnesota. The draft was in Minnesota, and Harold Ballard that time was in a wheelchair, and he was mad that they put him right at the back, the Leafs draft table right at the back, and they said that the cameras went by, and all the other Leafs management had their feet up on the table, and according to Jeff Merrick, Harold Ballard said he didn't want to go to the washroom. So he told them all to put their feet up on the table, and he was like peeing on the floor at the draft table. When it was like in Minnesota, it was like late '80s. Man, there's like so many wild stories with that guy. So it was like a circus, and he would have hardly any scouts. Like other teams would have like 10 scouts or whatever, and he would like have one or two scouts. And there was a period there the Leafs shared a farm team with the Chicago Blackhawks. They didn't even have a whole farm team. They shared a farm team with the Chicago Blackhawks. So he wouldn't spend any money on any players that wanted to go to the WHA, just let them go. Like they could have had, just like Montreal was a dynasty in the 1970s, the Leafs could have done the same. But they let all the players go to the WHA. Like the WHA was like trying to get all these NHLers, so they were getting all the players they could from like Bernie Perrant in the mid '70s. He turned into probably was the best goalie in hockey. Bernie Perrant in the mid '70s. He was with the Leafs in the early '70s, and Harold Ballard let him go. They let him go to the WHA, and then he came back and he was with the Flyers, and he was the best goalie in hockey. But there were a ton of players that they let go. He was man, and he was pretty. I don't want to get into he was not very. Yeah, he wasn't very nice to people, like things he said, like even outside of hockey or whatever. He was a real jerk. But and the Leafs and Conn Smythe, they said, I've heard, couldn't stand Harold Ballard. Like Conn Smythe would have been through that whole Harold Ballard. If Conn Smythe was around to see it, he would have just, oh man, he didn't really want, because Conn Smythe was old in the late 50s or early 60s, and so he let his son Stafford Smythe and John Bassett and Harold Ballard kind of take over the team. But Conn Smythe was not happy that Harold Ballard was part of it. He didn't like Harold Ballard. Yeah, and they brought in Cliff Fletcher after he passed away, and they brought in Cliff Fletcher, and within because Harold Ballard passed away, I think it was around 1990, and they brought in Cliff Fletcher, and Cliff Fletcher right away started making all kinds of moves, even before the Gilmore trade. Like he brought in Grant Fuhr, like he was doing all kinds of moves, and then Felix Potvin was developing, so they traded Grant Fuhr. I'm trying to remember if that's how they got Dave Andreychuk, who was like a 50-goal scorer with the Sabres. The Leafs brought him in. I think he might have been. They might have been in the Fuhr trade. The Leafs got Fuhr. I think, or I don't remember how he got those. And then like he made a bunch of good trades, like lots of trades. And but yeah, well, he was one of these players where he could like like he was a true goal scorer, and it was hard to move away from the front of the net. Like you don't see players like that so much anymore, because now the game, like everybody is more mobile. That really skates. Like same thing like Phil Esposito. He was getting like for the Bruins. He was getting over 70 goals a year, but he was like hard to move from the front of the net. He would just stand there and bang in rebounds. Like Matthew Nice could be a player like that if he had more touch around the net. He could be a player like Phil Esposito. Yeah, yeah. They're showing Nylander how he got injured after celebrating that goal. They just haven't missed the playoffs since we were tanking for Matthews. That's true. Yeah, Nylander's in the. Hopefully, Nylander's back soon. That could cost them a playoff spot. Like just the fact that Nylander hasn't been healthy. Because even when he comes back, because he had that, I think they said it's a groin injury. So he had that before, and then he came back and re-aggravated it. So if that's it's going to be a chronic thing all year, It's not good. Oh, great chance for McMahon there. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, well, got lucky there. Hit the empty open net and hit the post. Seems like Colorado's determined not to let the Leafs get back in this. Yeah, hit the post. They have to get one soon. Well, the Leafs hardly ever get shut out. Yeah, they gotta get one and get it soon. Don't want it to be one of this. Oh yeah, like in the last 5 minutes, all of a sudden they get a goal and they have the pressure on, and and maybe they get another one and then run out of time. Yeah, they have to win it again sometime. But for me, it's kind of disappointing that if this era goes without winning and they have to rebuild, the fact that I'm getting old is super disappointing. Because I was so young, it's hard to remember now, 67. So it's because if they have to go through rebuild, like how many years is that going to take? Like, well, like if it gets where they're going to take about 5 years to become a contender again. Depends how much of a rebuild they do. But if they have to start tanking for draft picks again and all that, like right now they don't even have draft picks. So they would have to start trading off the roster for draft picks. And as far as just rebuilding, I don't know. Unless they can make big trades during the summer. But the Leafs are a good team. They just, the injuries and all that. It's just been a really bad year for them. I hope it doesn't happen. What happened to them? What happened? The Rangers seemed like such a good team, and then everything just fell off last year. Like it seemed like the Rangers were gonna, and then everything just collapsed for them. Hopefully, the Leafs don't go through that. Yeah, the only thing, like, if they could, maybe trade. Like, if they decide they're going to rebuild, they'll trade for picks. But when you think of the players that are all injured, because there's like Nylander, Tanev, and Dakota Joshua just started playing great, and then he had that serious injury, lacerated kidney. So they've run into like a lot of problems, but then Florida has too. But Florida has, you know, riding off their confidence. Yeah, I guess he's tired of. Yeah, it's a good sign. And hopefully, as I said, Joshua's back on the ice. Yeah, and Nylander. I guess he got tired of the camera. I guess he's not too happy about not being on the ice, and just to show him sitting there, wishing he was on the ice. I guess he's not too happy about being filmed. I guess. But Nylander he doesn't have a problem with like Toronto fans or whatever. Like Marner was, he always complained, but Nylander rides the subway to Leafs games. I don't know if he still does. I think he still does. I think he said like last year there was like only one game that he didn't take the subway. The Leafs game. That would be. Can you imagine being riding on the subway and you see Nylander get on there, going out to the Leafs game? Yeah, the clock's ticking down, and there's only 14 minutes left. Still 3-0. I don't know. It's hard. That's gonna be like a real decision what they should do, like a real hard decision, because if it looks like they're not gonna make the playoffs, and they don't have much time to decide after because there's only like 5 or 6 games or something like that after the Olympic break until the trade deadline, and they're gonna have to decide because if they don't make the playoffs, they don't want to start trading away prospects or anything to go all in and then not make the playoffs. But then it'll be too soon to really know if they're going to make the playoffs for sure. So I have a feeling they might not do much. Like they might not want to gamble and just hope the injured players all come back. The injured players are all rested up from the Olympic break. Because Tavares will be rested up. Nyes will be rested up because he's been injured, like playing injured. And a lot of these guys will come back, and maybe after the Olympic break. So maybe they'll have a rested up, healthy team. Other than who knows how Matthews, Nylander, and OEL are going to, because they're going to be in the Olympics, so they're not going to get the rest. Yeah, maybe that'll be enough. The Olympic break, and then they won't do a ton. Because it's kind of risky. Like, you wouldn't want to trade Easton Cowan or well, I don't think they should trade Easton Cowan as it is, but you wouldn't really want to trade any more draft picks or prospects or anything, and then miss the playoffs and be just in the worst spot. Then, then if they don't do anything, if they don't do anything, there's still a chance the players will be rested up and healthy, and the team will play much better because of that. So I don't think they're going to do any big moves. The only way I think they're going to do some big moves is if the Leafs could go on a run and they're in a playoff spot at the trade deadline. Like if they're actually in a playoff spot or like one or 2 points behind. Yeah, I think so. Be interesting to see what happens against Buffalo. I think they're going to win against Buffalo. They have to win. Like Buffalo's been playing good this year, but the Leafs are a better team than Buffalo. I hope. I think they should beat Buffalo. But then they go on a road trip again to end things off. Like it's like I think they're playing Utah or something. It's like a 10 o'clock game or so. I think can't remember where. They're at West somewhere, and it's like a 10 o'clock game on Thursday. And then Vancouver, and then they play Edmonton. But the one against Edmonton is the last game for both teams before the Olympic break. So maybe, yeah, yeah. And I think that game is that's a bigger game than the one against Detroit. Because it doesn't look like they're going to catch Detroit. Buffalo is one of the teams they actually have a chance of. I feel bad for Joe Bowen if they miss the playoffs in his last season. But I don't know. When you think of like Joe Bowen, like all of those years doing like the Kessel year, when the team was so bad. So he probably thinks the way we do, like they kind of blew a chance over the last 10 years, and now things aren't looking as positive. But I still think that if they make it into the playoffs and they're somewhat healthy, they could go on a long playoff run. Like they're a good team. They just dug themselves into too deep a hole. Like I don't know what they were doing the first. What they were doing the first 2 months. Yeah, he ripped it. But it's pretty rare. If the Leafs don't score, that's pretty rare. I won't have any videos to make. If the Leafs don't score, this will be my only video for the game. But Colorado really seems to be locking it down. Uh, they can't even get into the Colorado zone now. Colorado's just locking it down now. This the Leafs can't get set up or anything. They're not doing anything. Yeah. It probably is the biggest game of the year. Even though now I think Buffalo is, I think now it's like last I looked, it was Boston, then Montreal, and then Buffalo ahead of the Leafs. So they're losing ground on Buffalo. Can't believe how great Buffalo's been playing. Both Detroit and Buffalo. We were all sort of worried, Florida and Tampa and everything. But now it seems like this might be a time where Buffalo and Detroit start picking things up. Like not just this year, but maybe over the next few years. All those years of getting high picks. Oh, almost. Michelli almost got one there. Shot it right into his pad. That was close. Yeah, almost. Yeah, if they made it 3-1, 7 minutes left, they'd still have a chance, but just feels like Colorado is locking it down. Like a good team does with the lead. Like I wish the Leafs would do. Oh, it is Got it with the arm, between the arm and the pad there. Yeah, so that was a good shot by Michelli. He could have got through, squeaked through there, but he got his arm on top of the pad there. Feels like I'm gonna have to pee. I have to pee for a while. I'm just gonna go and I'll be back. It'll be pretty quick. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I had to I had to pee. The Leafs have it their own end. Carlos, McCabe, back to passing it back and forth in their own end. And now it finally happened. Colorado's Riley just doesn't do much with it. 6-on-5 Toronto. With over 5 minutes left. Oh, Matthews almost. And they ice it. Colorado iced it. Matthews almost got one there. Blackwood just... I don't know if Blackwood got that with his glove or not. Maybe, yeah, maybe he tipped it. And it went over the net. Looks like it just tipped the glove of Blackwood there. At least have the pressure on. Battling along the boards there. Colorado's going to shoot it down the ice. Goes wide. Leafs shoot it in. Colorado's going to shoot it back out. The Leafs shoot it back in. Colorado shoots it out. Oh, beauty save by Nice. The Leafs skated in this time. The shoot-ins weren't doing too good. Colorado shoots it out. Seems like whatever they do, they shoot it in, skate it in. Colorado shoots it out. The Leafs skate it in. And Colorado's going to shoot it out. And Makar, Matthews blocks the Makar shot there. Now Nice skates in with it. And Makar clears it out of play. Yeah, it was this beauty save by Knives there. Yeah, the Leafs can't even stand any pressure or anything, so I don't think doesn't look like they're going to. I wonder how the other teams are doing. That they're like Boston. I don't know if Boston and Montreal, Buffalo, if they're playing today. It's really weird that there doesn't seem like it's possible there might not be any goals to make. Might not be any goals to make a video of for this game, which is weird. Colorado iced it there. He's saying this a lot, but Tuesday against Buffalo is really a must-win. Yeah, that's for sure. If they lose to Buffalo, And it's like I said, like they could still like become a lot healthier over the Olympic break and maybe go on a real run after the Olympics. But they've dug themselves in such a deep hole. And everything they did, like they went on a bit of a run there, and they didn't really, they caught up, but not, they just caught up a bit, really. Now they lose a few and they drop back. Seems like everybody else keeps winning. But I think a lot of it's to do with that weird. I'm really not a big fan of those 3-point games. Because you got one team that wins, another team loses, and they both get a point. And if you're trying to catch up, most you can get is 2 points. But so, that's 4-0. Yeah, gets the hat trick. It's kind of a disappointing. It was a really disappointing game for at least if they lost a close one. I was wondering if maybe the game against Vegas was a distraction. It doesn't seem like it. Seems like the Leafs. I don't know. I don't want to think that it's over and they're not going to make the playoffs because I think they're capable. They're a good team. But they're for sure making it hard. I don't know. I bet you they're going back with Stallers. I think they're just going to alternate now, back and forth. Because I think they asked Berube, are you going to split it evenly now? The Stallers is back. And he says, yeah, basically. So they were going to go with Stallers. The Stallers, wasn't that great the start of the game, but as the game went on, he got much better. So Stallers might be I don't know. Stallers might be the better option for Tuesday actually. At this point. Wall had that game that he stole, basically. And I think it was against Colorado, if I remember right. And then after that, he hasn't played that great. So I don't know if he's battling something again. Yeah, I don't like seeing them lose either. Like if it's like during the regular season and they're like playing great, so they have to lose every once in a while. They're not going to win every game. So then, but when it's times like this where they're just, supposed to be battling for a playoff spot and letting all these games get away. And then in the playoffs when they lose, That's really upsetting. It's really hard to see them losing the playoffs. Oh, there we go. Broke the shutout anyway. Yeah, Domi got that. Well, they broke the shutout anyways. That's about it. Yeah, it's pretty rare for the Leafs to get shut out. That's why I was kind of surprised if there would be no goal for like a highlight. It's very very rare where I don't have at least one video to make. Like it feels like over the last few years they've only been shut out like a handful of times. Yeah, hopefully he can. But I don't want. But then also, I don't want him to come back too soon and then wind up being out the rest of the up until the Olympics or whatever. I don't know. It seems like something they might have to manage for the rest of the season. The way it looks. Yeah, lost. So I guess I'll go now then. But thank you for being in the stream again. Made like kind of makes it like a podcast where we're just sitting there both talking. It's like we have a podcast going. Yeah, go Leafs go. Hopefully the Leafs win it Tuesday. Okay, thank you.